My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review for the very first episode of The Last of Us. This review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But if you know me, you'd know that I love The Last of Us. It is my favorite franchise. So I was very excited for this show, and it breaks my heart to say that I did not like this episode. The very first scene is just this weird moment where the scientists are describing the fungus infection, and it feels like it's very on the nose, it's not subtle, it feels like they're holding our hand, and then they throw in a random global warming comment, which just took me out of the show, so I didn't like that opening at all. But then we spend the day with Sarah as she goes to school, she gets her father's watch fixed, and it's lacking any bit of urgency. Just because we see her for like 5 extra minutes doesn't mean I care about her anymore. And then she spends some time with the neighbors, so when they get infected, there's some weight behind it, except I didn't care at all. I'm just like, oh, whatever. So it feels like they spent a lot more time for everything to have less impact. And the dialogue just feels very forced to begin with. So, not a fan of that, but then the tension's ramping up, everything's going wrong, and we eventually get to the moment when Sarah dies. And I've played the game so many times and I cry. Every single time. I didn't shed a tear here. Just the performances weren't there, the execution of the moment wasn't there, and it just felt very lacking to me. And I find it odd that they have this one prologue, and then the opening titles, and then we've got this 20-minute prologue. And it's just like, why would you just get rid of the very first scene, terrible decision, have this be the prologue, and then you have the opening credits, and then the 20 years later. It's very oddly paced in, and the pacing doesn't get better. It's very odd. Well, it's just drags, and it feels a lot longer than it actually is. But we do skip ahead 20 years, and I do not like Pedro Pascal's version of Joel. I think he looks the part. I do not think he sounds the part. I think his voice is a bit too high. I preferred the rugged voice of Troy Baker. But just this version of the character, I feel like I've already seen too much of his soft side. Like, the whole point of Joel is that he loses his daughter, he has to do terrible things to survive for 20 years, his guards and barriers are completely up, he's completely isolated from himself, from everyone entirely. And then this girl comes into his life, and by the end, he's opened his softer side. It becomes earned. And I feel like we've seen too much of the nice Joel. There's also one moment where he brutally beats up this guard, and I'm like, yes, this is the Joel I want, but he only existed in one moment. I also hate the fact that he still seems to want to connect with Tommy. I liked the fact they went their different ways in the game, and they only came across each other regarding the story, while here Joe's actively seeking for him. He's also keeping in touch with Bill and Frank, which I just hate. It seems like Bill was a lonely survivor. That was his entire character. And now he keeps in touch with Joel, just some random guy he owed a favor for. And then he clearly has a relationship with Tess, and yes, it's hinted at the game, but there's some kind of nuance there that's just missing here. And when it just seems like he has all these different relationships or people that he cares about, it kind of dampens the character and what they're going for a bit. And then you get introduced to Ellie, and I think her introduction is very sloppy. It's this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, fuck you joke. Some of the dialogue where they're like, oh, was Wiley a terrorist? Was a bit too on the nose. But Bella Ramsey is quite great. I think she captures that spirit of Ellie so perfectly, and she's easily my favorite part so far. You've also got Anna Torv as Tess, and she does a pretty good job, I think. I think Marlene is good, even though some of the dialogue where she's talking about the Fireflies and who they are and what they're fighting for is so on the nose. Like, where's the subtlety of the games? It just, everything seems too direct, seems like it's too blatant, and I don't like that at all. Everything with Warbot is just completely butchered here, if you ask me. And just all of the big moments so far have had zero impact, so I'll continue watching it. I hope it gets better. I'm just not impressed so far. It just feels lacking. It's lacking that subtlety and the nuance that the games have. I don't like this portrayal of Joel so far. It's lacking that emotion. I do like the music a lot by Gustavo Santaolalla. And I'm just, like, this has never happened because people always read books and then they watch the movies based on the books and they're like, it wasn't like the books. And now I'm that guy. I'm never that guy, so I finally get my opportunity. But I do want to say one more thing real quick. I'm seeing so many people say this is the best video game adaptation and that it broke the video game course, and you guys are all doing Arcane dirty. That show is phenomenal. It's a masterpiece. It's actually my second favorite story ever. So yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way. So did you watch Last of Us? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon. And Gavin out.